I'm Ed Greig, and I am the Chief Disruptor at Deloitte Digital. And the title of my talk, which was kindly provided by Julian, was Do We Need Agencies at All? Which is quite an aggressive title straight off the bat. It feels a little bit like when I was at school as a debate. I had to do a debate where I was debating, do human rights exist, in front of an audience of humans? And so this feels a little bit similar. Do we need agencies at all? Spoiler alert, the answer is yes, so from me. So just so we keep the room happy, I'm not going to leave you waiting until the end until I answer that question. So yeah, Ed Greig, Chief Disruptor. What does a Chief Disruptor do? So my job is basically to work with new technology and new ways of working and understand how it can benefit both our clients and Deloitte ourselves. And that means that I do come into contact with a lot of new technology, but also more important than the technology itself is often the people who are using that technology. And so the mantra of our part of the organization, and in a way it's a mantra of Deloitte as a whole as well, is fall in love with the problem, not in love with the solution. And I think it's such an important thing, especially now where the pace of change has accelerated to such an extent and exciting new solutions are coming out every day. There's an exciting new solution available. To bear this in mind is really, really, really key, because it's very easy to throw stuff out unnecessarily in the face of a new solution because you think that it's going to be a magic bullet and it's going to solve all of your problems. It's very easy to dismiss expertise of people who understand a problem very well because you've got an exciting new solution that has just been developed. And so fall in love with the problem, not with the solution, I think is really important. And I think it applies to this question as well of do we still need agencies at all? And I think the challenge is for agencies to think about the problem that they're trying to solve and to think about that very deeply rather than getting too caught up in possible solutions to that. So this is, kind of our motto is that we believe the future is built on relentless collaborative innovation. Nothing is ever finished, and good is never good enough, like this presentation definitely isn't finished. So we partner with great clients to do great things. The key thing here, though, from the agency point of view, is the collaborative innovation, and also the fact that we partner with our clients to do great things. What we want to do is to deliver the best possible results for our clients, and that doesn't mean doing everything ourselves, and that doing everything ourselves will never lead to the best results, because we can't possibly be experts in all things. And so I think that's really important. It is a mindset shift for us as a consultancy, but absolutely we are going through a kind of massive cultural change that Deloitte Digital is a part of, and I am as much as possible encouraging that mindset shift to focus on the need to collaborate. There are still people within the business who don't necessarily get this, but they are. The mindset is changing and that situation is improving. I'm going to talk just quickly through kind of the way that we work because I think it's just interesting to give a bit of background. Then I'm going to look at why I think what we have done in particular works quite well and what doesn't work so well in the way that we work, and then look at how that relates to how we work with independent agencies like yourselves, and then finally I'll open it up to you guys, because I think I'm really keen to hear what people think and to get feedback if I don't run out of time, which is a problem that I try to fall in love with, the finishing on time. but still have not yet come to a good solution. So we talk about the fact that we've created a new model. So we pitch ourselves here as somewhere between a consultancy and an agency. The fact that we have this kind of breadth of expertise from our core management consulting business has been a real benefit from the point of view of being able to fall in love with the problem and not the solution, because we can get expertise from people who are very experienced in sectors and industries. I've just come from the London Real Estate Forum, for example, and not many people know that Deloitte has a real estate consulting business. But the fact that when we are delivering digital solutions for real estate, we're able to talk about those with our real estate teams with 20, 25, 30 years experience in the industry is really, really powerful. And so that is what I very much value about the way that we are able to work at Deloitte. And that's why I think being able to sit between those two is great. But we're quite a small dot in the middle of that, and we can't do everything, as I say, and I think that's the really important part of it, because that agency side of the Venn diagram there is not just us. I think it is a lot of other people as well. It's an ecosystem of people as well that we are kind of keen to develop. So what do? We do strategy and digital disruption. We do design. That was kind of the big thing that we added when we moved into our new offices in Clerkenwell, was kind of the design aspect of this. We do engineering and prototyping. So Deloitte Digital in the UK was built out of our engineering practice. So that was kind of the core of what moved over. And as I say, the design, we had strategy already. We had the engineering and prototyping. The design was the new bit that was added in, and then making it happen because we have experts on change management consultancy. We are able to kind of deliver on these changes that we're making. So one of the key things about the way that we work, and I think this is very relevant. Again, we were discussing it upstairs in the networking area, is that at the moment, there is a lot of blurring of the lines. I just showed you in that Venn diagram, the blurring of the lines between a consultancy and an agency. We're also finding that there's a lot of, in order to kind of deliver maximum value for our clients, there's a lot of blurring of the lines between the different departments and areas within our clients as well. No longer can they have kind of very siloed roles. More and more, in order to kind of deliver the full benefits, they are having to work together and collaborate, going back to that word that we said at the beginning. But the really kind of, and there's two key components to that. There is the need to kind of iterate and innovate, but there is also the need to have a very clear vision of where you are going. And we talk about creating a tangible hypothesis, which is the user is at the center of everything that we do, and so this is creating a hypothesis that is a user level, and then that allows you to bring everyone together from the different parts of the business and allows them to buy into this tangible hypothesis. And we call it a tangible hypothesis rather than saying a goal or a vision, because that iterative process afterwards is very much about testing that hypothesis. We are not saying this is the answer that you will ultimately get to. We are saying you need to come up with a hypothesis and you need to test it in order to reach it. And the other key thing about the hypothesis is it shouldn't be something that takes you a long, long time to define. But I think that the ability to do this before you jump into supplying a solution to a client is really important. We do get clients coming to us looking for a specific solution, thinking they know the answer. It's a little bit like the other day when my housemate needed something to fix his bike, and he asked for a screwdriver, and we spent an hour or two looking around the house for the specific screwdriver that he said he needed. And then we got out to the bike, and it turned out he needed a wrench. And it was like, okay, so if you told me the problem you were trying to solve rather than the specific solution that you thought you needed, then we could have actually done this a lot quicker. I was way more diplomatic than that. Actually, way less diplomatic than that. But the point being that actually that's what we often find with clients, and we find that doing this exercise is a really, really good way, because sometimes we've set these hypotheses over the course of an afternoon or something like that. That's a really, really good way of getting them bought in and getting the different parts of the business bought into that kind of vision. Then, as I say, it's about iterating, it's about experimenting, and kind of constantly testing. That's very much the way that we work. The 3 commandments are start simple and cheap. So my specific role is, with those new technologies, getting them into a real life scenario as quickly and efficiently and basically as cheaply as possible. So that's kind of the major kind of drive in terms of the way that my team works, because that's where we found the problems often occur, is kind of taking that first step. And so that's my team's kind of razor sharp focus, because I think if you focus on kind of the quality of your blue sky thinking as kind of your key metric, it's very easy to kind of get lost in that and not start applying it to the to practicalities. Learn constantly. Again, all about testing, and then improve, innovate, and optimize. So that is absolutely the way that we work. And we've developed a number of tools that we use in order to do that. We are starting to use crowdsourcing. We use Agile, a very specific version of Agile that we've developed that works for us, which I think I'll come on to a bit later on. We have accelerators like Project Zero, we're using Lean Enterprise, and we are using DevOps as well. But that's just quickly running through that. And then the process as well, something that you'll kind of all be familiar with: hypothesizing, building, experimenting, and refining. So that's something that I think you'll all be familiar with. But it's something that's very much at the heart of what we do and the way that we work. It talks about the 3 key perspectives that we view it from. Interestingly, the one that we often have to add into this one as well is regulatory as well. So the commercial view, the user view, the technical feasibility, and the regulatory framework. But that's actually, in my team, we usually look at that 4th perspective as well. Because often when you're testing and running the experiment, as I said, this part at the beginning of what's the simplest form the idea can take, often if you have these 3 key perspectives, you realize that you only need to focus on one of them in order to deliver the simplest possible form of the idea. And we do often come across a lot of situations where people over-engineer it because they try to address all 3 or all 4 of these at the same time, when in fact they could test their hypothesis without building out all 4. But that's kind of a side thing. So what works about the way that we've done, and what do I think has been valuable about the way that Deloitte Digital has approached this versus perhaps other examples in this field? I think the really key thing is that this is something that's developed organically within Deloitte. So as I said, this grew out of our engineering practice, which was very much an agile-led engineering practice. That was something that was a very big part of our culture, and that was very much the way that we were working with clients. And that organically developed into Deloitte Digital that we see, the organization that we have today. I think that was really, really important because we've seen attempts to do acquisitions or attempts to do top-down reorganizations to kind of build a digital arm in a business. And having seen those relatively close at hand, I can say that they have not been as successful. And I think that that often comes from not recognizing the importance of kind of the culture change that needs to take place, which is an issue that we see on technology projects as well, where people are so caught up in the technical solution that they forget that the real problem they're trying to solve is changing the way that people work. And so I think that organic nature of the change has been really key to the way that Deloitte Digital has developed. I think the other thing that is going to be key going forwards is a move away from the kind of not made here attitude and a move towards much more of an ecosystem style way of managing the way that we work. The pace of change means that we can't always have expertise within our business to deliver what's needed for our clients. I mean, a good example is virtual reality. We do quite a lot of virtual reality work within my team and within Deloitte Digital, but we can't deliver. We can deliver a proof of concept scale, but we can't deliver kind of at scale. And so then we've gone out to agencies in order to deliver that. And so that has been, I think that kind of approach is going to become more and more important, where we're focusing on our kind of USPs, which are that kind of breadth of experience and us being able to kind of manage the holistic view of what the client needs and how the client is changing. But then we're bringing in the right team members and the right people in order to deliver that. So I think that's been something that's been really key and is something that is a move that we're looking to make. When I'm introducing this new technology, often the new technology is being developed, is being developed by people, or it's a new way of working. Like it's not absent from the people who are developing it, and so we absolutely need to kind of bring in expertise as well. And I think the appreciation of that is something that's coming, and I think that's something that the business is understanding more and more. I mean, we as a business, it doesn't just happen. Deloitte is obviously huge. It's I think 210,000 people worldwide. So it's and one of our biggest problems globally has been reinventing the wheel over and over again. We've got so many wheels. It's just crazy. And so actually, this isn't just something that we are needing to tackle in terms of our relationship with external agencies. This is something that we need to tackle internally so that we learn to kind of collaborate and that we are always using the best possible solution for clients rather than something that has been developed in the UK or has been developed in the US. So it is, as I say, that cultural change is ongoing, but it's addressing a problem that we have internally anyway. So just to illustrate, A, the scale of the problem, and B, kind of the necessity for the change. So yeah. That is been the stuff that I think works very well, and in terms of kind of how it hasn't worked as well in some other places. So in terms of to kind of to finish up, obviously, as I say, fall in love with the problem, not with the solution. I think the challenge is for agencies is how best to work with us and to work with because we know that we want to deliver this for clients. We know we want to deliver the best solutions for clients. We know that we want to work with the best people in order to get that solution delivered, and we certainly are prepared to do that. It's just about thinking about how best we can make that arrangement. There are things on our side that definitely need to improve that are not, that are not necessarily not necessarily something that the agencies need to do. We need to there's a lot of things about our procurement process that are not ideal, and in terms of the relationships that we've had with agencies better. But there is a willingness to do it, and I think the more stories and the more evidence we have of the benefits of kind of this collaboration, I think the better. And as in the same way that we're keen to kind of found partnerships with our clients and kind of partner with them to deliver great solutions and deliver long-term partnerships, we are keen to do that with kind of the best people as well. So, but I think in terms of our sort of appearance on the market, I think the key thing to think about is to fall in love with the problem, not with the solution, and think about how we can best work together in order to deliver that, and how the agencies can best kind of demonstrate their value and their USPs to us and to kind of senior stakeholders within our business and senior stakeholders within the client. So I always finish with that, but falling in love with the problem, not with the solution. So I should say, probably just actually going back to what works. So we just acquired, on June the 1st, we just announced that we'd acquired another agency, and that called Market Gravity, who you may have heard of, who are a proposition design agency. And so but again, that was something where we had worked with them, and we had worked with them on a client, actually 2 or 3 clients we'd worked with them in the US and in the UK. We'd proved that we could work well together, and following that, we knew that we had a joint offering that was stronger than the 2 individual offerings on their own. And then following that, we made the acquisition and purchased Market Gravity. And that's what we've done in Australia as well recently with there's a company called Kid Neon who we purchased, and I'm trying to remember now, I've forgotten the name of the other company that we purchased, who then subsequently purchased Kid Neon, but they're a service design and service and experience design company, and so we again acquired them after working very closely with them. And I think the testimony to kind of how we have changed was that after 18 months, only one person had left, and that was to go to the UK in order to work here in the UK. So that was when I heard that, I was really, when the kind of the Australian head of that business was over here, I was really impressed, because I think that is great, because that's kind of trying it, testing it, and then scaling it and building it up in terms of our relationship with agencies. But it really kind of demonstrates that desire to have the long-term partnerships. So yes, now questions. So yeah. Oh. 5 minutes of questions. Yeah. Cool.
So good.
Or I might have covered everything. Oh, you've got the ball. Okay, cool.
Oh yeah, these are fun. Yes.
Oh, cool.
Don't speak too close. That's the answer.
Yeah.
Ed, thank you very much, and really thank you for coming and being very open with us. And that is part of it, the intention to have a dialogue here. And this is it is really a question of genuine curiosity. At what point and why would you buy an agency when you're kind of like buying the solution or a solution as opposed to one of multiple solutions? And just a context for that, it was Jeff Fromm, who spoke yesterday, reported back, I can't verify this, he reported back, he was at the ANA conference in the US, and so there was quite a lot of negative sentiment from brand owners about the consultancies potentially losing objectivity if they are recommending their own creative solution agencies as opposed to other ones. And why buy when Airbnb and Uber and all that is not buying? Why not just work with people?
Yeah, I think it's a really good question. It's the thing that I worry about most is, and we have seen it, where that loss of independence, I think, is really important. Because I said at the beginning, our main aim has to be delivering the best possible solution for clients, and we have to be humble enough to recognize when we are not the best possible solution. And yeah, sometimes we don't we don't do that. I think sometimes we do get it wrong. and that is a shame. And I think that we are getting better at it, and I think we are. I mean, it applies with our relationship to technology companies as well. So, we have partnerships with technology companies, and sometimes they struggle to understand the kind of that need for us to be impartial and us to suggest the best solution. They're like, why can't you just promote us? And I mean, at the end of the day, it damages our brand if there is ever that perception. And I hope that the vast majority of the business understand that and we don't make a short-term, what is a kind of a short benefit, a decision to benefit in the short term that damages us in the long term, because as you say, that's very disappointing if brands get that sense, and that's another reason for us to collaborate and not to try and expand too far, because it gives us then the flexibility to deliver kind of the best solution for the client. I think that's a really good question, and it gets to the heart of the danger that we face, because we do have the option to make acquisitions, and I think that's why we do have to be really, really, really careful.
Hi there. I was interested in the Venn diagram when you said
yes.
There's creative agencies and.
Do you want me to go back to it?
No, it's fine. Thank you.
I just love using the clicker. Actually, it's going to take ages.
Let's do it. Let's see it.
Yeah, let's do it. Is this it? No, this is it. Yeah.
I was intrigued about kind of your commercial model. Do you charge out and structure and package time like a creative agency would, or do you productize and work on rev shares and IP like a consultancy typically might?
It's a mixed model. I think so. We have actually traditionally. So yeah, it does vary based on the client. I certainly have been trying more and more for us to move towards kind of a service-based model where we are saying, this is the service that we are going to provide. When we've got lots of multidisciplinary teams, a time-based model where we're exclusively on a single client, which is unlike the way that a time-based model would work at an agency, that can actually be quite limiting for us and can kind of stop us having the capacity that we need to get jobs done. And so, it's an ongoing process. But, we have a combination of kind of fixed fee stuff, some revenue stuff. We're trying to productize stuff to a certain extent. I'm always wary, though, if we go too far down that route, because then we start to become a product company that's biased towards their specific product. And I think that's a danger, because the value that we deliver is our independence. But it's a mix of things, but we're trying to move more towards kind of a service-based model so that we can kind of be more effective in that way.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem at all.
So thank you so much for coming along today. Ed, Greig, everybody.